Okay, so we'll start revising 8 attacks and 8 parries drill. So the 8 attacks are, I'll just do the attack bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at the belly, 6 flip back, 7 straight down, 8 straight up. The defences are 1 on a slip, 2 on a reverse, 3 on a slip, 4 on a reverse, 5 on the hanger, 6 high outside, 7 for now we're doing yours, and 8 to press it with the low slip. Alright, let's do that one. So everyone, pair off. I am on, say, an outside guard, and I wish to get to a hanger. As we talked about yesterday, you throw to cut number 1. I don't want to do that. Okay? If I'm too slow, I will sweep it into my own head, and even if I get it there, the sword is going in the same direction as the blow, and it can get blown into me. So what I want to do is what's called a prime break. What is it, the camera? Drop the point, turn the hand, lift it above the head. So that as the attack arrives, the sword is meeting it, like so. Not only that, but it forms a nice circle, so lends itself directly to a nice circular riposte. Okay? So that action is really important to get right. So when we train this, we will start the hanging guard for the sake of the argument, and you will go cut, bang. Learn to cut down, turn it up. Cut through, turn it up. Cut through, turn it up. Rather than that action, which is wrong and potentially dead. Okay? So you are cutting down at a steep angle, rolling up. Cutting down at a steep angle, rolling up. Okay? We'll just do it on a simple lunge and slip for now. That is perfectly fine. But this time we're going to parry them with a hanging guard. High outside, sweeping with a hanger, sweep with a hanger, sweep with a hanger, high outside, hanger, hanger. Fair enough. One more time. Okay, so everything except things aimed up here can be taken on a hanging guard at the appropriate height. Things up there must be taken in an outside guard. It can be close, it can be extended. From here, this extension is not a bad thing because it tends to roll quite nicely back into the hanger anyway. So you can give it a bit more. Off we go. On the blade page is what he calls bearing. And this is weird because what we just did is bearing in all the other manuals. Page's bearing is a little bit strange because what he says is you want to be outside guard to outside guard, forte to forte. He seems to expect the other guy to attack because he says you throw it outside at the same time to end up in this position. So presumably we're inside guard, the other guy attacks and we do this on a lunge. Okay? Now why would we do this? If you put your helmet on. Anytime you stay in distance of somebody who's attacking you, you risk getting your legs cut. Yes? The only way to remain vaguely safe is if you do this as a counter-attack at their head so that they don't feel like dropping at your leg. So what Page is essentially saying is as he attacks, I throw a number 2 at his head on a lunge straight at him. And I'm getting that triangle point thing happening again. With some luck, I hit him. Okay? But there's a very good chance that I won't because he's sort of in the way. Okay? So here we are. So now we're in this position here in a bind. And then he says, slide your forte up to his foible. What this is absolutely not is this. It's not a wind. Okay? This is not what's happening because I would lose my wrist. The way I get there is that I turn my hand from an outside guard to an inside guard. And that slides my sword from this end of his sword up to that end of his sword. And what that does is takes it away and gives me a cut to the face. So there's two parts to this defense. One, try and hit him on the head. If that fails, bear his sword aside and hit him in the head. Make sense? So once more, hit him in the head. Fail, hit him in the head. And the key to it is this motion. From our bound position, I turn my hand over and bring it back a little bit, and that gives me complete control of his sword. I'm not doing anything exciting with it, I'm just taking it aside so that I get that angle within the thing. Fair enough? Okay, off we go. There, if he sees into a hanger, slip off the end and throw a 3 into the wrist. Inside to inside, we have a mirror image. I bear, he seeds, I drop off the end, and I throw a 4 into the wrist. Again, stepping away from wherever his point is. So in this case, I'll be going this way. As he seeds, I'll take the same foot back the other way, and up like that. As my opponent bears my outside to the other that way, rather than simply seeding into this, which is defensive but doesn't offer any offensive potential. Do it again. I do that. So I do my seed, but I do it as an attack. He's pushing my sword aside, so I go, let's go that way then. And I throw a number 4 into his wrist. Okay? My footwork is again stepping away. He's going that way, I go this way. Bang. On the inside, he pushes my sword that way. I go, all right, 4. Throw a number 3 into that wrist. So rather than simply covering, we say, all right, he's attacking my sword, which means he's not attacking me, which means I can take my sword away and hit him, which is back to first principles. Okay, so let's have a go at that inside and out. So the next series of actions of the blade come from Lonergan, and he calls them whirls, and whirls are super cool. Okay, so you can whirl pretty well any guard into any other guard, and the idea is that, again, you extend to get a little bit of extra leverage, and then you form a circle, and it does something horrible to the other person's wrist. Okay? So from there, I can whirl it that way. And the hanging guard, which is the one we're going to practice because it's the coolest, I disengage over, I catch it up, and I do that. Okay? So these can be done as a standalone technique. We're in a hanging guard, I can go, I'm going to whirl you. Isn't that unpleasant? Yeah. Okay? The first time I did that at a conference thing we were having, and there was some guys there, fight directors in fact they were, and they said, you could almost disarm somebody like this. And I said, of course you did, and I did it, and the sword went out across the crowd. Didn't hit anyone, unfortunately. So you can absolutely, if they're not ready for it, this action can easily disarm somebody. They can also be done after a parry. So as a left-hander, I will quite often, if you throw a cut at me, I will quite often turn that parry into a whirl to get rid of it. I'm left-handed, but only when I need to. But naturally, yeah, I'm left-handed. Okay? So the idea behind the whirl is you engage your opponent's sword again with a little bit of extra leverage. You want to be reasonably deep down their blade because you don't want to slide off it. And then you turn your sword from one guard to another guard. So outside guard to a hanging guard. Boom. Inside guard to an outside hanger, or even all the way back around to the inside. The hanging guard, we are going to go hanging to outside. So I'm going to disengage, engage my opponent's blade quite deeply down. I want the leverage. Then I step left with my left leg, so I traverse, and I whirl it to an outside guard. And then I stop and hit him on the head, or the belly, or whatever is open. So this is being powered by my footwork. Get the leverage, step. And I'm at this stage already in distance to strike. Yeah? Okay? So this is the coolest one, so this is the one we're going to practice, but as I say, with a bit of practice, you could do this against any guard from any other guard, and you can use it as an addendum to a parry. So, throw number 2. Again, I don't think I can get a riposte in here because it's too strong, but I can whirl it. and that gets rid of it so I can then get my riposte. It works better with sharp swords again, but we'll make do. With an inside guard, I am now going to step that way, giving it a gentle push. Again, I've exposed my head and encouraged him to hit it by giving it a push. Step back, and I take the wrist. This is the nicest of the lot because his hand is already up nice and high, his wrist is nicely exposed, so I just go, hit me on the head, please, and thank you, back. And he's putting the most effort into any of those cuts. So this works as a lovely treat. If you're in a hanging guard, I can just go, hit me, pull, look at that, and fight over. So let's have a go at that with an inside guard. I am now going to step that way, giving it a gentle push. Again, I've exposed my head and encouraged him to hit it by giving it a push. Step back, and I take the wrist. This is the nicest of the lot because his hand is already up nice and high, his wrist is nicely exposed, so I just go, hit me on the head, please, and thank you, back. And he's putting the most effort into any of those cuts. So this works as a lovely treat. If you're in a hanging guard, I can just go, hit me, pull, look at that, and fight over. So let's have a go at that. From the inside guard, extend, narrow, the super narrow. When he takes the bait, stop the wrist. You can suppress that and turn it into something else. If he doesn't take the bait, as before, turn it over and throw it outside at the head the same way you would anyway. Guard, outside guard, wide stance. Engage and step super wide. If he doesn't react, back traverse, throwing the sword into the neck. If he takes the bait and goes for your head, step back, turn the sword and take the wrist. So you're doing the same action regardless, really.